Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. From the fall of the Berlin Wall through a big enlargement to the establishing of Eurozone and Schengen area, EU had been living its golden age. Today, the European Union, this historical project of vice creators, Adenauer, Schuman, De Gasperi, Helmut Kohl, Wilfried Martens, and also José Manuel Barroso, Van Rompuy, Václav Havel, Jerzy Buzek, Landsbergis, Hans-Gert Pöttering, Wolfgang Schüssel, and many others. This historical project is now challenged by its most seriously since its creation. I do not have in mind challenges coming from the inside. Since the emerging of the financial crisis in 2008, the European Union has proved its strength and resilience to overcome the crisis. Because of the courage and statesmanship of our colleagues from the EPP, Barroso, Van Rompuy, Jean-Claude Juncker, Passos Coelho, Valdis Dombrovskis, Enda Kenny, Antonia Samaras, and of course, Mariano Rajoy, we have protected our common currency and welfare of the Europeans. But today, the biggest challenge is not coming from the inside. Dear colleagues, do we still remember what we proclaimed when we agreed the Lisbon Treaty? We said, the European Union has to be able to shape the globalization, the global world, and influence the world. Otherwise, it is the Union which will be shaped from outside. During last months, the external border of the European Union has collapsed in more than one member country. Even more, the Schengen area border has collapsed during last months in more than one member country. Slovenia, my country, unfortunately included. Today, our EU borders are of three kinds. First, borders which are not challenged yet. Second, borders which are defended and secured. And third, borders which have already collapsed. And because of that, the European Union is in danger. The whole project is in danger. A businessman, for instance, from Kosovo, who applies for Schengen visa to travel to the European Union, has to pay and wait for weeks before visa is or is not granted. At the same time, hundreds of thousands of immigrants from the countries outside Europe, European continent, are crossing the same Schengen border without any restrictions. Remember, Roman Empire has started to collapse when it was not able to control its border. There is no room for effective and organized solidarity in chaos. If you would like to see chaos, how it looked like from close, come to Slovenian-Croatian border those days. Yesterday, our EPP Congress passed an emergency resolution on refugee crisis and border protection. It represents the best comprehensive answer to this challenge so far. but we have to start to implement it through all possible channels as soon as possible. But we have to agree also to make one step further, from crisis management to strategic thinking. First, we have to ask ourselves if integration of millions of migrants coming from Afghanistan, Syria, Eritrea, and other countries outside Europe is really a long-term sustainable solution. What does it mean to our European identity? This discussion is already going on for years, and we still don't have a great answer, not either among ourselves. More important, we have to ask ourselves another question. Take, for example, Syria. A war in this country will sooner or later come to an end, if not earlier than, sadly, when all possible resources for war are exhausted. And then what? Then what? Who will rebuild the country? We know that there is among Syrian refugees a vast majority of the people from its middle class. Teachers, lawyers, merchants, businessmen, those who can afford themselves to travel mostly. When the war is over, who will need them more? Rich European countries or their homeland? I think the answer is obvious. They'll be desperately needed to rebuild their homeland. If they are missing in this endeavor, it will not be possible to stabilize Syria or Libya or Afghanistan. Only bad alternatives will become an option. To tolerate a cruel dictatorship or failed states. In both cases, our external borders are pressed with thousands of refugees and migrants permanently. And the European Union cannot withstand this pressure forever. There is a solution where we can apply both solidarity and strategic interest of the Union. When we are helping those people coming from failed states or states torn by a civil war, we have to tell and organize them to go back when conditions will improve. We have to invite a lot more, we have to invest a lot more to education, to educate their children, organizing schools for them wherever they are, and encouraging them to think how to rebuild their homelands. Preventing, creating large generations of millions of young people, which is the easiest recruiting base for radical movements and criminal gangs. Dear friends, if we look at the political and economic map of the European Union and its neighborhood, it's obvious that we will not be able to continue with business as usual. Moreover, it will not be enough to build strong fences and change EU asylum and migration policies. We have to reinforce our commitment given when we signed the Lisbon Treaty to create a good power which is able to shape the global world, and we have to start with our neighborhood where the EU is challenged from the east and south. But lastly, precondition for any sustainable solution is to secure our external borders first. Those European countries which are defending our external borders need a robust help from all others. It's time for bold action from the European Commission to coordinate this endeavor. Our big aircraft is descending rapidly, and oxygen masks are hanging from the ceiling. Thank you very much.